What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another edition of FG Unleashed. Hey, man, I'm here to talk about today. Never got a chance to talk about this topic and shit, and I'm gonna talk about when I first went to the feds. You know, my first few days. You know what I mean? Of course, as soon as I got cracked, I mean, you know, when you first get there, you get in that cell and they lock that door. You know, you're doing a lot of thinking. You know, you had 100 moving pieces going on in the world. And all that stops instantly. Somebody else has to come in and tie up your loose ends. Somebody else have to do. I mean, if you left a sandwich on the table when you left, somebody got to go clean that sandwich up. Everything you need done, somebody else has to do it. But first thing I was thinking about was, you know, man, apparently, you know, this case was from 4.5 years ago, to be exact, from the time that I committed the crime. And I had 3 kids, more kids after 2000. Like I say, my wife was pregnant. So I'm sitting there thinking about all the stress that they must be going through, thinking about, you know, putting a plan in place for, you know, everybody to be able to make it, you know. And at this time, I'm already knowing I'm finna do some time, so I'm not even thinking about that shit. You know, I haven't even, you know, I don't go back to court for another month or so. Right now, that's not even on my mind. But when I left, I was a head football coach in Compton. And those kids, I left 2 games, we would have been going to the Super Bowl. And I had a hot team back then, man. I'm talking about, I raised my kids up from 5 years old. And let me show y'all something. Let me show y'all this jacket. Compton Titans, who's next? I got the years I coached, 99. You know, of course, '04 was my last year. And that's the year I left. And man, I had a hot team, man. I first got my coaching, started coaching back in 99. And the homie Smitty from Pocket, he had the 5-year-old team back then, man. And he let me, you know, man, you want to coach with me? I'm like, sure. You know, and man, we get to coaching. And I didn't realize how much these kids kind of depended on you. You know, how much they looked up to you, how much they, you know, they hung on every word you said, you know what I mean? And then some of them didn't have fathers. At that time, some of them had fathers in jail, single mothers, you know. So you become a second parent to some of these kids, you know, and some of them you just take a genuine liking to just based on their personality or their story or their situation, you know. So me and Smitty coach team, man, we had a good time, man, and you know, really trying to point these kids in a different direction, man, other than the streets. And I play sports, so I know sports are definitely, you know, keep your mind on it and off the negative, you know. So I coached a couple years with Smitty, and then I went on to get my own team. I became a head coach. And in '04, when they came to get me, not only was I a head coach, I was the vice president of the organization. So while I'm in there thinking about my own family, I mean, my team, some of these kids I've been coaching since they was 5, you know, they were 10 now, you know, and I had coached a 9-10 team, and some of these kids were like family. You know, I used to go out my way to do a whole lot. I used to go get kids out the projects, you know what I mean, that couldn't afford to play sports, and we'd do a fundraiser so they can, you know, see what it's like to be a part of the team, get the camaraderie, you know what I mean, learn sports, you know, get to be a part of something. Because, if you know, I know growing up in the hood, when you're not a part of something, that's how you be a part of the gangs. You know what I mean? Because eventually you're going to be a part of something. If you're not in school, a part of, you know, ROTC, or you're not in sports, you know, what else, you know, is you're going to be a part of something. So I used to, you know, have a program in place where we'll put money together and, you know, do fundraisers, and I used to go get kids that never even played sports before, you know, and put them on the team, and, you know, and you know, I had boys a little older. My boys probably was 11, 12 at the time. They probably was 12. So, you know how kids grow so fast. I mean, you know, the new jackets or certain clothes I used to, you know, give the players that was unfortunate. You know, I owned a barbershop, so I used to take them 10 at a time up to my barbershop and get all their haircuts, you know what I mean? And I really took a like, used to bring them out to the house and, you know, do bonfires with them and sleepovers. And I mean, they was like a second family to me, some of these kids. And when I left, I realized how I let them down, and I was thinking about them more than I was thinking about the time. We had 2 games to go before we made it to the Super Bowl. We had one team, then we played Snoop team. Now, we beat Snoop team, we in the Super Bowl. When I say Snoop, I mean Snoop Dogg, the rapper. So we beat his team, we go to the Super Bowl. Now, my coaching staff consists of, at the time, my big homie Dre G, my homie Wemo, and Toddy T. Toddy T, if you guys don't remember, he had a big hit back in the 80s. It was called The Batarang. You can't stop it, baby. The Batarang. I mean, big hit. Him and Mixmaster Spades, they was doing their thing in Compton back then, man. I mean, they was hit makers. So now Todd and Snoop is buddies. You know what I mean? Good friends. You know what I mean? So, and not to mention they Crips, so they super friends. You know what I mean? And I needed Todd. When I left, Todd took over. I was Todd. Hey, I sent the message, Todd. I need you to get these kids to the Super Bowl, man. We got 2 games, bro. You beat this next team and you go beat Snoop, man. I had the team hands down, could nobody touch us. You know what I mean? We was going all over just smashing dudes. You know what I mean? And it was definitely our year, And I wanted to get them kids a Super Bowl so bad, man. And so I remember me sending the message to Todd. Now the thing about Todd is, I was the offensive coordinator as well. So when I left, Todd didn't know extensively like my playbook. He was an offensive mind himself, so he switched things up a little bit to, kind of the same thing, but a little different formations, And, 9, 10 games into the season, that can, these are 9 and 10-year-old kids. We've been working on this same system for a long time, And, but Todd had to do what see fit, in his mind, you know what I mean? His terminology was different from mine, And I couldn't expect him to know mine, you know what I mean? So, but I knew we had a team, we could beat anybody. You know what I mean? So we went and beat the next team, and then we come up with Snoop. So only thing stopping us from the Super Bowl is Snoop, And before I get into that, anybody who plays sports, you could be 50 years old. You remember that touchdown catch in high school. You remember that tackle you made in college. When you play sports, you don't forget baseball, basketball, football. You remember those things. You could talk about a catch, 27 years ago and remember it like it was yesterday. That's just what we do as old dudes. You know what I mean? Reminiscing about, high school and college or stumps, those sort of things, So I remember this like it was yesterday. And this was in 2004. And it's been on my mind a very, very long time. You know what I mean? I think I bumped into Todd a time or two, but I didn't get to speak on it. But I'm speaking on the Todd. I love you, man, but I got a question to ask you, man. So we go play Snoop. And I know we got the ability to smash his team. Now, he had a damn good team, but I know I felt ours was better, man. I'm talking about we had heart, we had it. You know what I mean? We had ability, we had skills, we had the plays, we had it all. So Todd go play Snoop. I'm more worried about the game. I ain't even worried about what's nothing going on right here, right now. You know what I mean? So I'm at MDC Los Angeles and Metropolitan Detention Center, Los Angeles. And I knew what time the game started. I knew what time it was going to be over. I didn't want to call until it was over to hear, man, we beat them. We going to the Super Bowl, So I call and, they say, man, we lost like 13-6. I'm like, what? And I'm like, I can't. That's hard for me to swallow. I can't get a grip on now. And I had the super team, man, and and I go back and I'm laying there, and I can only be honest, man. I'm like, 2004, Snoop, one of the biggest rappers in the world at this time. Him and Todd is friends. Todd, did you let the homie win that game, man? Because I know you went over to the Snoop League after that and ran off about 3 or 4 Super Bowls. So I know you had the ability, man. I'm gonna call you out on, I love you, Todd, but I'm trying to ask you, man, did you let the homie win? You know what I mean? Back then, because we had that super team, you know what I mean? And I never got a chance to, you know, I mean, I sent a word out to the team, you know what I mean, that, I apologize. Coach Frank apologized for getting himself in a situation. Kids need to learn from my mistakes, that future, you can do things today that can hurt you years later. You know what I mean? So you have to be mindful of what you're doing, but they never heard it from me. I sent it through other people, sent it through my wife, sent it through, my coaching staff. But at the same time, I just ran into a couple of my players from back then. One of them pulled up on the road, King So Clean, you know what I mean? I was like, man, we be out there on them Harleys, And I apologized to him, face to face, you know what I mean? And some of the other kids hit me on Facebook or something, and I did the same with them. But, I never really just got a chance to, put in perspective, how they must have felt. They had to feel like I let them down, which I did, because that's how I felt, And to all those kids back then, and even the ones now, you have to pay attention to the shit you do. You know what I mean? Something I did in 2000 comes back to haunt me 2004. You got to be mindful. And then we sit up here and, we talk about some of the things we did back in our days that you guys are not going to get away with in these days. You know what I mean? When I left, it wasn't no YouTube, wasn't no Facebook, wasn't no Instagram, wasn't no, if somebody had a camera phone, it probably was so blurry you couldn't take a picture more than 2 feet away and be able to see something, and the odds, if you trying to do some criminal activity, the odds of you getting away now is just, it's not the same. I remember in the 80s where wasn't no cell phones. You jump out and do anything you want to do in the middle of the street. Nobody writing your license plate down. Nobody, people's minding their business. Wasn't no camera phones to record what's going on. Now, everybody on every street got a Ring doorbell. You know what I mean? And to be doing crime, man, you got to be mindful. It's a camera at every light damn near. You know what I mean? All the technology that they have. If you have a cell phone, you pinging off every tower. You know what I mean? If you any kind of suspect, they can just check and see if you was in that location. You guys have to be mindful that the odds are stacked against you. So you might as well just go and do right. You know what I mean? Now, I know, guys want to, don't believe us, because I didn't believe a lot of things that people told me. You know what I mean? I didn't believe you can get that much time for this or this much time for that. But that's what it is, man. And, I'll never want, when I'm telling these stories, kids to glorify the shit that I'm talking about. Because for one, this is old shit. And for two, technology is just different. You know what I mean? You can't pull the same shit off, you know what I mean, and make that shit work nowadays. You know what I mean? So, take the things I say, even when I'm talking about some gangster shit, take that as a lesson, man, that I've been down that road. I've been down that trail. You know what I mean? And that shit ain't the way to go. Because right now, man, I've been on my job. I work 10, 12 hours a day. Had I been doing this 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I'd be ready to retire right now. But I'm not. You know what I mean? I have to go on and work until I'm, old man, you know what I mean? So I need y'all to use y'all mind, you know what I mean? So you don't have to work as hard as I do in order to make a living, you know what I mean? So y'all kids be mindful, you know what I mean? What y'all doing out there, that bullshit, let it be bullshit, you know what I mean? And let's stay in these ears for the coaches that's coaching today. Man, I commend y'all, man. You know what I mean? You got to catch the youth when you got to catch them, man, when they're in elementary school. Because once they get to junior high school, it's a little too late. The turns need to be done, man. First, second, third grade, so by the time they get to the 7th and 8th grade, man, they made a decision that this ain't the shit they want to do, and that's just what the real is, So kids, be mindful. When I'm talking about old shit. You know what I mean? And I'm also trying to deter you dudes from doing the same stupid shit I did. You know what I mean? And Tidy T, I love you, but tap in with me. You know what I mean, man? Inquiring minds want to know, homie. You know what I mean? Much love, man.